Cisco 49 is deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst.
This is the 49er Faithful UK show. And this is week 12. Hopefully, the foul stench of week 11 has faded. And we're ready for the first of back-to-back Winter Wonderland road trips. First up, it's the 7-3 Green Bay Packers. While the Packers are firmly in control of a wild card spot, the two teams are actually pretty evenly matched. And it shows that the difference between 5-5 and 7-3 is literally just a couple of plays going your way. The playoffs maths says that it isn't a must-win game, but it sure feels like one. I'm Gareth Ellis, and I am joined by Paul Hope.
What's up, Faithful?
Lee Gowland.
Bah, humbug. Packers by 21.
And Nancy Kawar.
God, hello, everyone. What a start. What is that cap?
Yeah.
I think it's the first time you don't have a Niners cap on. What's going on?
Yeah, I just thought I'd wear this one tonight.
Fair enough. Why not?
There could be a reason.
There's going to be some hidden meaning in this that we're not party to. It is good to see you, gents. And we've been getting in the Green Bay spirit with our own snowfall in the UK. Have you boys managed to get a snow day off work?
Not off work.
No.
I've managed to get a lot of days off work.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I'm asking you.
I've managed to avoid the snow so far, but I'm in the office on Friday, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed, Gareth, that there's no snow, because the UK transport does not cope with the white stuff as well as our friends across the pond.
It doesn't cope with daylight either.
It doesn't cope with anything. It's just,
leaves on the line.
I know, yeah. No snow day, but I did eat a lot of cheese, so...
Good, yeah, good.
Win-win.
Yeah. We're 9:25 on Sunday, and unfortunately we're on Sky. So blackout on Game Pass, and the company of Neil Reynolds.
That's never nice.
Enough has been said about that. I did enjoy you boys' live show. Spicy,
Thank you.
I heard. Feedback was spicy on Wednesday. So if you haven't caught that, you can catch it on the tubes.
Yeah, we're still friends. Me and Gowland are still friends. Apparently, people thought we might have been. Yeah, just Lee. But no, cheers, Gareth. It was nice to have Gary and Matty, who were both 49ers fans, on the live, different faces. And yeah, we had a discussion that we started on Monday, quietened down on Tuesday, and Lee poured fuel all over that debate on Wednesday.
Excellent. Well, we needed warming up, didn't we? Everyone was a bit chilly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, shall we dive straight in then? Plenty to choose from History Corner. So, what have you got for us, Lee? We've been looking forward to this all day.
So, the Green Bay Packers lead the head-to-head 38-34 and one tie. The first meeting was actually on November the 26th, 1950. The Packers won that one 25-21. The last meeting was on January the 20th this year, with the 49ers winning that one 24-21. So very similar scorelines there. The last time we played Green Bay at Lambeau in the regular season, we actually came out 33-30 losers in that game. It was a close game, and Green Bay basically nicked it right at the very end. I'm sure you can all remember that game where we thought we'd done enough to while away the time, and then Rodgers stepped up with 27 seconds left and did what he does. So that wasn't a very good game. We've actually played twice before on the 24th of November. We lost the first game on the road in 1963, and we won the home game in 2019. That was the game that yours truly was actually at. And that is the game that I've picked to go down memory lane. So, the first quarter, Tevin Coleman got us off to a great start, running in a touchdown with just under 2 minutes played. That was followed up with a field goal by everybody's favourite kicker, Chase McLaughlin. Sorry if that gives anybody nightmares, that name, but he was our kicker that day. McLaughlin then added a second 3 minutes into the second quarter. Debo then piled on the misery for the Packers with a 42-yard touchdown, courtesy of Jimmy G. And then McLaughlin added a third field goal to close out the first half and put the Niners up 23-0. So the third quarter was a little bit slow. It was well past halfway before anybody scored, and that person happened to be Devontae Adams, who seems to score against us every time he plays. He hauled in a 2-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers, and then caught the 2-point conversion. So once the 49ers had actually stopped laughing at the sheer desperation of the Packers going for 2 points this late in the game with literally nothing on the scoreboard and absolutely getting a pace thing, George Kittle then popped up literally a minute or two later with a 61-yard touchdown, taking the score to 30-8. And that ended the third quarter. The fourth quarter was a little bit the same. It took midway through the actual quarter before there was any scoring, and that was Raheem Mostert. He rubbed salt into the Packer wounds with a late 15-yard run, taking the final scoreline to 37-8. Aaron was sacked 5 times and only managed 104 yards from 20 completions, averaging only 3.2 yards per completion. On the flip side of that, Jimmy G, he finished with 253 yards from only 14 completions, averaging 12.7 yards per completion, but he was also sacked 3 times. No one rushed for more than 50 yards, and Kittle was the only receiver from either team to get more than 50 yards through the air, and he finished the game with 129 yards. He was 6 for 6, and he had a touchdown as well. A player that's played for both teams, there was many, but I'm going to go with the Debo killer, and that is Tabor Pepper. He had 1 season with the Packers. And that is your History Corner.
Thank you, Lee. I thought you were going to pick some other players who've played for both teams, particularly like the family man, of course.
The family man?
The man with the family.
Oh,
so I was going to go
That's
down
what I
that
thought
route.
he was going to
there
go
was
with.
under
Yeah.
Cumberland's to be there.
I was going to go down that route, but I thought I'd do Tabor Pepper purely because he's Paul's favourite.
Yeah, well, surely he's everyone's favourite.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Debo's favourite, if I'm honest.
Maybe not, no. But we've booted the Packers from the playoffs 3 times since 2019. Obviously, they've changed a lot personnel since then, but the coach hasn't. I'm pretty sure they will be wanting some sort of measure of revenge, particularly, of course, of the that 13-10 victory. When was that? 2022, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, and of course last year they had the game in their pocket seemingly before we snatched it away at Levi's. So yeah, a little bit of history, but nice one, Lee. I'd completely forgotten that game.
Yeah, no,
What, that game back in 2019?
Yeah, me too. Because
well, surprisingly, given the amount of alcohol I had that day, I do remember it. Believe it or not, the one thing that I remember most about that game wasn't actually the game. So I think it was midway through the fourth quarter and the Packers went for it on 4th down and we stopped them. We stopped them on 4th down to turn the ball over. And me and David were jumping about like idiots and I stick my hand up to high five him. He's looking directly at us and just leaves us hanging. And then turns around to some complete stranger and starts hugging him. I think, I can't believe you left us hanging, mate. And you can actually see that on one of the vlogs I did because I vlogged the 2019.
This was the game where you and David walked around the top,
That's
wasn't
right.
it? And you've vlogged
right.
it.
We just kept on. Yeah, it was the concourse. We kept on going backwards and forwards. Yeah.
Someone does watch those videos, Lee. So yeah, I remembered. I wasn't sure if you were going to go down, the Kaepernick playoff game or the game in Lambeau last time where Robbie Gould kicked the field goal. So you keep us all guessing, boss. It was a good one.
The Mostert game, the 240 yards or whatever. Come on, that was good.
That was an NFC Championship, wasn't it?
Yeah, the NFC Championship, yeah.
So obviously the reason I went with this game is, well, twofold. One, I was at the game, and 2,
it's all about you.
It was on exactly the same date.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
That does make sense. That does make sense. Fair enough.
And you being there makes sense as well, but the same date thing's good.
Yeah.
Very good history. Nice.
Absolutely. So, shall we come up to date? Injury report. Not practicing for the Green Bay Packers is cornerback Jair Alexander, who I think is expected to probably miss the game. They have plenty on limited participation, but I think many of them will play. Limited is running back Josh Jacobs and several of their own line players. And I will admit, I have no idea if those are starters or backups on the O-line. But I think Green Bay look pretty healthy, unlike the 49ers. Some high-profile players not practicing. Nick Bosa obviously came out of the game last week, obviously has been carrying an injury for some time. Kevin Givens is still not practicing. Trent Williams had the day. Wasn't sure whether that was just his Veterans Day or whether
No.
think he's got an ankle injury. Tatum Bethune, linebacker, is also not been practicing. CMC not at practice, but he was rested. Limited participation, Jacob Cowing, John Feliciano, Brock Purdy, shoulder injury. But on the plus side, great to see Chavarius Ward back with the team, limited on the participation. No sign of George Kittle on the practice report.
I think he was limited. So
Didn't
To be
appear.
fair to
He is ready to
George,
go.
I was going to say, he
Good.
was speaking to the reporters and whether he was supposed to or not, chaps, he said, I'm playing this on Sunday. You don't miss the Packers in Lambeau. So the reporters were like, oh, there you go. Who's your sauce? George Kittle.
Just Kittle, right? Okay. Cowing is in a concussion protocol, so it's going to be a long shot if he clears it. Not that it matters because he's not allowed to play apparently. Bethune, I think, is got an MCL sprain, so it's probably going to be a few weeks, I would imagine. Dre Greenlow's.
No, so Bethune, I believe he's torn his MCL.
Oh, is it torn now?
Ooh.
Okay, so that's end of season. If it's completely torn, either way, we're going to miss him for at least 6 to 8 weeks, which is the end of the season. So, yeah.
Special teams even weaker.
Yeah, well, not that we were good before. Dre Greenlow practice window is open apparently, so we'll see if he comes back or not. And Feliciano
needs
as
it.
well, potentially coming back, hopefully, because we didn't talk about O-line much in the past few weeks, but center is a need, big one.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they were all rubbish on Sunday night, including Trent Williams.
Yeah.
And tackle. Trent's not going to go on forever. I know it seems like it, but
absolutely no.
We need a plan there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, we do. We need a plan. And then Bossa is the big one, obviously.
Purdy,
no indication.
shoulder soreness. Expectation is he will play. I think it's just the sort of thing he will be expected to be probably limited all week, and will do the run-throughs without doing the throwing.
I'm not so worried about Purdy because of last year when it came out at the end of the season that he wasn't really practicing much, and he was tending to kind of get through it. And I saw some footage of him going through walkthroughs in practice just before we came on today. So like you said, I think they're just protecting him. But we don't need him to throw the ball on Sunday, do we, Najee? It's going to be the Jordan Mason show,
That's
roll it back, put the tape on. See that guy there, Brock, with number 10 on? Just hand it to the running back. There you go, son. That's all you need to do on Sunday.
Easy. Yeah. No, it's worrying, though. It's good to have money back. Yeah, hopefully he can. Hopefully he feels good enough to play. Surely change his mind a little bit and get him busy, but yeah.
Well, would you actually start Mooney over Ronaldo Green? Because I wouldn't.
No, I would start Mooney over Yadam.
Yeah,
and have Ronaldo Green on the other side. And put Lenore back in as well.
Yeah, like you said, Najee, I think they'll have worked with him and it'll have been his decision. And I think the team has said it's good to see him back, get his mind off things. But like you said, good to see him back. And obviously our thoughts with his family at this difficult time.
So we got some graphics. Shall we see how we match up against the mighty Green Bay Packers offense? Oh, there it is. Look at that. Seamless transition.
We're getting good at this, unlike the 49ers. Anyway, I believe offense is my responsibility, so I'll just jump in. It's really weird to look at this team and not see Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, and it just kind of doesn't feel quite real, does it? That this is the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love in the center, Josh Jacobs, and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. It's really weird to all these names weren't really here a few years ago, but they're playing pretty well. They're winning games. They are in somewhat weak division, apart from Detroit, of course. But I think the Bears aren't very good. The Vikings I think, are still very much overrated and will start plummeting.
Yeah, the Vikings are collapsing.
Yeah, they are. I didn't think that would stay that good for that long. But yeah, anyway, they're 7-3, so who am I to talk, right? They've won more games than we did. So I think, surprisingly, one of their strength, and this might shock you, but I do personally believe that their O-line is actually pretty decent. They've only allowed 13 sacks this entire season, which is really impressive if you think about it. Over, week 11 we are now. Is it week 12? So
Yeah,
so
week
10 games
12.
because
It's 11 for them because they've
11
off
for
a
them.
bye
So
week.
they've had 11 games and allowed 13 sacks, which is crazy. And I do genuinely think that their success is largely because of that. It gives Love and their offense enough time to throw the ball. And they've been pretty good at throwing the ball and running the ball. They're being really efficient on third down. And it's basically a well-run team. I think the scheme we know, it's basically Shanahan's team with a scheme with a spin on it. There's nothing new that we haven't seen before from that team. Where do you guys think we're going to be vulnerable on Sunday? What do you think is their biggest strength?
Go on, Paul. You were ready.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always
I
Paul.
did
It's
do some
always-
homework, Nadji, just to be on the
Exactly.
safe side. So it's Jordan Love isn't fully healthy. He's tied with the top with Geno Smith and Mahomes for the most interceptions, 11 interceptions. But what LaFleur has done really well with him, Nadji, he's kind of allowing him to throw the ball.
Yeah.
They're actually ranked 4th in the NFL for explosive pass rate, which for those people who may not know what that means is any pass 20 yards or more. So the Packers are quite good at getting the ball down the field. And a change, as you've mentioned, Nadji, we used to Rodgers and Adams. That was the connection. But they've got 4 receivers, and LaFleur doesn't like the term number 1 wide receiver. Now, whether that was because he was burnt by Adams, he likes to spread it around. So last week, it was the Christian Watson game. The week before, it was the Romeo Dobbs game. And when I looked at the snap count for all 4 of the receivers they've got, Nadji, they all get like an equal target share. Yeah. Now, I've seen a couple of the content creators say Christian Watson's his go-to man. He's actually the lowest targeted out of those 4 receivers, but he takes the most snaps. But when he does get targeted, he's explosive. And I think it's well documented that he had some injury struggles. He had some hamstring issues, but apparently he's done some work in the off-season. And touch wood, he hasn't missed any games with injury so far. But what they're doing quite well, Nadji, is they're kind of picking the poison going against the opponents. So normally, you prepare for Green Bay. You think, right, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. And then what they've also done, they've added Josh Jacobs, who isn't a bad running back in this offense. And as Nadji said, chaps, the offensive line for the Packers is really good. They're protecting Jordan Love really well. But Jacobs has kind of added that running threat that they thought they would lose when they've lost pieces in free agency. So, yeah, you're right. What did interest me before the other chaps jump in, if I was to read out to you and say red zone struggles, penalties, questionable play calls, drops, would you think I was talking about the 49ers or the Green Bay Packers chaps?
Both.
Believe it or not, they're not very good in the red zone, so they're moving the ball very well. And that made me think, this is just like looking in a mirror, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan. They're only converting 48.7% of their red zone trips, which is ranked 27th in the NFL. When I've spoke to a couple of Packers fans this week, they're saying it's infuriating. We'll get in the red zone and then we're not punching it home. Like last week against the Bears, the game was 20-19, but apparently they missed 2 in the red zone, which we've said on our show, the Niners, if you score those 2, the game isn't close. So that kind of worries me a little bit, Nadji, because you kind of think, right, the 27th in the red zone, but is this the week where they get right? Because they're going up against the family man, and is he going to get targeted?
Family man. Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, so I ask you the question because to me, they are kind of a carbon copy of what we do. Obviously, the talent isn't quite as much. I don't think Josh Jacobs is as good as CMC. Obviously, CMC is not quite 100% yet. I don't think Kraft is nowhere near as good as Kittle. I don't think Jaden Reed is as good as Debo, etc., etc., etc. However, they do have the same blueprint where the threat can come from any of those 5 guys. It could be a Kraft day. It could be a Dobbs day. It could be a Josh Jacobs day. And I do feel like this week is going to be very stressful for our defense. And we're actually going to see how good we are because we played the Seahawks and we did talk about how our defense was playing pretty well, only holding them to 20 points. 7 of those in the last 13 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever it was. So I do generally, I'm looking forward to see how our defense handle this and all of those weapons, because they all are important. There isn't, oh, well, let's put money on Christian Watson and we'll be fine. No, they will try and go and find somewhere else. They will try and attack where they think they get strongest. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Staley and Sorensen can cook up and see if they can actually put up a game and put us in the right position to be on top. Obviously, that's we're going to talk about offense, which is the biggest struggle for our team at the moment. But I do feel like this is, if we cannot come on top on defense against this team, I don't really think we have a shot any team that will make the playoffs anyway. So this is a great test for us. Obviously, we'll see if Bossa is back. That's going to be massive. We're going to need Bossa because otherwise we don't generate pressure. And if we don't do that, it's going to be a very easy day for Jordan Love, injured or not. But yeah, they're a good team. I think if we give them the chance, they will absolutely destroy us. So it's going to be a trenches. They're going to be at home, so the noise is going to be, for them. All of the stadium will be behind them, and then yeah, so very good test on the road against the ropes. A team that really needs to win a game in a convincing fashion. So I'm glad Muni's back, and hopefully we can stifle this offense and show that we have a Super Bowl caliber defense that can stop teams like this that are very good everywhere.
Yeah, I think LaFleur, his offense similar to Shanahan. It's
Yeah.
known for the balance and efficiency.
Yeah.
Strangely, he emphasises the running game, which then utilises the play action pass. Jordan Love is seeming to get healthy. We know he went off against the Eagles on that dreadful surface in Brazil. The backup they got from the Titans, whose name escapes me, steadied the ship. They're 7-3. They've won 5 of the last 6 games. So I think the faithful tuning in. Normally we're banging the drum, being all positive, not trying to be doom and gloom. But as Nadji's done really well there, this is a good football team. Now they're only 3rd in their division because the Lions are running away with it. The Vikings, as you've said, have done enough at the start of the season. But you know your season's going downhill when you're linked with Aaron Rodgers being your quarterback next season. And yes, chaps, I have seen the Vikings linked with Aaron Rodgers next season. So Steve Gowland, dust off that Rodgers jersey.
Isn't it a bit busy being head coach, GM, quarterback, OC of the Jets?
That's maybe his part of the master plan, that G. Gets himself GM and then trades himself for a load of picks. So, maybe he's going to be,
Trades himself away. Oh gosh, the Jets. At least we're not just Jets.
Well, yeah, it's at least we're not the Jets. It's an interesting matchup. I think the teams are evenly matched. If you look at the rankings, both offensively and defensively, we're fairly middling, upper middling, but we're fairly close together. The Packers edge one, we edge the others. It's going to be a good matchup. I think it might well be a bit more of a defensive game. I can see defenses being on top early. I'm not expecting this to necessarily be a high scorer. I don't want to give too much away, but I think you're right. If we can cut down the options for Jordan Love, I think we can slow that offense down. And I think our defense should be angry. I think our defense will be annoyed from the last couple of plays that they were on the field. They should still be hurting from that last drive by the team we played in week 11. So hopefully they're going to bring a bit of fire and a bit of heat to Lambeau and not be bullied by the home team. Lee, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's going to come down to the trenches. It all depends on how our defensive line gets any pressure through that offensive line. As Nadji said, I mean, looking at the screen there, and when you see, well, you won't see ours because I haven't done that slide, but ours on paper looks much better than that offensive line. But that offensive line is a good offensive line. They have protected Jordan Love. So if we can't pressure Love, I think the score could get silly, to be fair, because Jordan Love has the ability to get the ball into his receiver's hands. However, as we already know, he also has the ability to make some boneheaded decisions. And you mentioned it earlier about the Mike Target, the family man. I think that might play into our hands. This could be a game where Campbell has his best game for us because he'll know the tendencies of both the offensive line and Jordan Love. So he might just have that like split-second jump on what they're going to do. So we could see a very good game from Devondre Campbell. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to the two lines. I don't think it's going to be receiver against cornerback or safety. I don't think our linebackers are going to win us the game. I think the defensive line is going to do that. And to do that, we need to get pressure. And we need to get pressure in such a way that Bosa ends up getting sacks. Because he gets pressure, but then you see no output from that pressure. So we definitely need to see that improve. And obviously it's been a bit of a weakness all season. We said it was the position group that we felt wasn't the strongest anymore. So hopefully they can step up, as Najee said. Hopefully they look back at the Seahawks game and think, right, we need to get in here. We need to be getting at the quarterback. And to be honest, they just need to do the job. No mistakes, no penalties, no stupid brain farts. Do your job, do it correctly, and get after the quarterback. Because if we can put pressure on Love, I can't see any other standout playmakers on that team. Yes, you've got good players on offense, but no standout playmakers other than Love. So we need pressure him.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
When I was preparing for tonight, chaps, I thought, don't make any stupid bold predictions. Keep it simple.
What?
And then we're 26 minutes in, and Lee has just dropped the Devondre Campbell game. This is going to be one for the ages, chaps. I already know where this is going.
Discord MVP in waiting.
That would be the day. That would be the day.
I think we've covered that. I think they do lack a little bit of firepower. I think there's a consistency there. There's a lot of options, but I don't think there's that one guy who really terrifies you. And if you feel if we can stop him, we'll slow down the offense entirely. Other than, of course, Jordan Love. Like you say, I think if we can get some pressure on him, and I think if we can keep coverage good as well, eventually he is going to start throwing the ball into danger. And there could be some pickings for some of our guys on the back end there. Shall we flip over and see how we're going to line up against this Packers D? There we go. Before I'd even finished talking, Paul, this is your scouting specialism, isn't it? Take it away.
Like us, chaps, Green Bay have a new defensive coordinator. So Joe Barry was given the boot last year, and Jeff Hafley was recruited from college. So he's Matt LaFleur's third defensive coordinator since he's been in Green Bay. He prefers to use a cover 3 and a combination of cover 6 and quarters on first down, which allows him to hide his intentions in the back end, which is what most coordinators are trying to do with Brock. They're trying to disguise those pressures and lure him into those throws in the middle of the field. So when preparing for tonight, the Packers have switched to a 4-3 single high defense under Hafley, which is a significant departure from the 3-4 two-gap quarter style that they've previously employed. They have 19 turnovers this season, which is 7th in the NFL. So there's been a lot of emphasis on attacking the offense and trying to get those turnovers. In this scheme, the corners usually play press coverage and stick with the receivers, especially if the receivers are going straight down the field. Now, when I was preparing and watching the game take, if the receivers don't run streaks, the corners will still bail to their deep third assignments down the sidelines. So it's kind of man to a degree, but then it goes into zone coverage. So it'll be interesting to see how Brock deciphers that at the line, because I think they're going to show different looks, Gareth. The Packers, however, have struggled to consistently generate pressure on quarterbacks this year, which has led to more problems for the secondary. And you've already alluded to one of my notes. Jair Alexander, all-pro corner, just can't stay on the field. He seems to have a lot of health issues at the moment. And as you said at the start, Gareth, it doesn't look like he's playing on Sunday. So they've got 25 sacks on the season so far, which is 18th in the NFL. They also ranked 19th for pressure rate. The Packers last week struggled to contain Caleb Williams, who had 70 rushing yards, which was roughly 40% of the Bears' 179 rushing yards, which interestingly was the Packers' worst output of the season against their divisional rivals. Generally, the Packers haven't been great against the run this year, and Swift was getting about 5.1 yards per attempt last week. So I'd like to see more of Jordan Mason this week, Kyle, because I'd like to see 5.1 yards per carry. That would be great. Thank you very much. Interestingly, the 9 third down conversions the Bears got last week matched the total from the Packers' previous 3 games. Now, the content creators in Packerland, where I've stole a lot of this information, were rather troubled by this because they'd come off a bye week. So they were hoping to hit the ground running against the Bears, and they narrowly escaped with a win. Field goal didn't go over, which you've probably all seen. I did think the Bears were finally going to break that, but it didn't. The pass rush was typically feeble last week, and some Packers fans felt that as much as Rashan Gary played his best game of the season and Brenton Cox did all right, Kenny Clark and Lucas Van Ness didn't make a single contribution to show on the stat sheet. And interestingly, they've released his name forgets me. Is it Smith, Preston Smith? They brought in on big money. They traded him away just before the bye week. So apparently that's to do with salary cap, but equally to give some of these youngsters a bit of a chance. But it seemed a bit of a shock to the Packers fans. It's fair to say, Gareth, that the Packers struggled against Williams and his mobility. They also have faced some substantial challenges when going up against third down. And interestingly, the Bears were also successful on all 3 fourth down attempts. The Bears dominated the time of possession by 13 minutes and ran 26 more plays than the Packers. The reason I've put that in there is the Packers defence faced 72 snaps last week. So it's not as if they had an easy game against the Bears. So clutching at straws, chaps. I'm trying to find some positives in all of this. The Packers' inability to adjust to the quick passing plays and Williams being mobile highlighted some vulnerabilities that wasn't on one player, but more on the scheme that's being employed. And like I said, there's a few Packers fans who are a bit critical of the new coordinator. They don't think he's quite got them where they want to be. You know I love a good stat, Gareth, so before I let Najee and Lee jump in, what I will finish off with is the Packers defence is ranked 12th overall in this year's NFL. They've allowed 25 touchdowns and they're allowing on average 327 yards per game. The pass defence is ranked 13th. The rush defence is ranked 14th. Red zone, they're allowing about 58.8% conversion rate, which is 19th in the NFL. And on third down, they're allowing teams to convert 36% of the time. As I said at the start, turnovers, they are quite good at generating turnovers. The 7th in the NFL with 19. And that, chaps, is a whistle-stop tour of the Packers defence.
So, as Paul loves a good start, I'm going to throw a couple at them now. So, believe it or not, so the screen that we're looking at now, of all those players, there's actually only 2 of those players who have above average coverage rating this season, and that's both safeties. And it gets even better than that. So your cornerbacks, they're all currently either average or below average. When you start talking about run defense, the front 7, so your 4 defensive linemen and your 3 linebackers, there's one of them missing off this screen because this has the nickel on. But the three linebackers and the 4 defensive linemen, there's only one player who is above below average. So the highest run stopping grade is basically average on this team. So this team is a team that we are set up to beat with the run. As long as we're not using CMC religiously from start to finish.
I was going to say,
let's get Jordan Mason back. And we said it the other day.
That is the problem, isn't it?
So basically, you're saying Purdy's going to attempt about 50 passes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good that Lee's come on and said that because I'm known for being more positive. So I decided to kind of do my scouting report and hope someone would jump in and back me up. Like I said, the Packers fans I've spoke to have said that we haven't been great against the run. Yes, we're 7-3, but when I looked at it in division, they're 1-2. At home, they're 3-2. Out of conference, they're 4-0. So they seem to do well against the AFC teams, but the NFC teams, they seem to struggle. And then when I was looking at their season record, some of the games that they've lost, I mean, the Eagles put 34 points on them, the Vikings put 31 points on them, The Lions put 24 points on them. And I was trying to think the similarities between those teams and what we've got. And that's what I said to Lee. More of Jordan Mason, please. Because I would love to see smash mouth football.
And I'll be honest, my biggest concern isn't the players that we're looking at now. My biggest concern is the weather.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to be wet, or even, and I love using this word because I know people hate it, even if it's going to be moist, then the ball's going to slip out of Brock Purdy's hand. Because we know it does, because we've seen it time and time again. So at the moment, the thing I'm more worried about is the weather. But luckily enough, like I said, it's going to be highs of 7, so it's not going to be freezing. It's not going to snow. There's only a 16% chance of rain, and that 16% chance is all day long. So it might not even be during game time. So we might look out here with the weather. If that's the case, this team is there for the beating. We should get back on track.
But it is the perfect opportunity for Kyle to show us that what's happened last week is grown from, and he can actually make some change and use the team that he has and the talent that he has on the team. Right. Because, as you said, it would be absolutely insane to try and pass on this team. The two safeties are extremely good. Xavier McKinney is amazing, always has been, even when he was at college. He's a very good player, and I think it would be silly for us to dare them to take the ball, because they will. What we can do, however, which is a lot safer, is hand the ball to CMC and Jordan Mason and just let them run. Go back to what we did when we had Jimmy. Let him just hand the ball 50 times and pass 8. Was it 8 in that game where...
Yeah.
The only worry with that, though, Nadji, is the O-line. I mean, a lot of the people who watch game tape and break it down better than I can the last few days have said that we struggle to run the ball against Seattle.
I was just about to say Johnny Dell.
Yeah, but we have the tape and we know we've been doing it wrong, and we are a good O-line. I don't know why we're playing bad this year, especially against the run, on the run. Yeah, but if Kittle's back, and this is a perfect opportunity. If I see Brock throwing the ball 45 times and we lose the game, I'm going to lose my stuff. This is a family-friendly show.
Could this be the Kyle Shanahan where he puts Isaac Guerrero in, Nadji? Because as Lee said, normally hear stuff at the line of scrimmage or goal. Maybe this is
what I want to see. And even if we, for some reason, we go out and Brock balls out, which he always does, right? And Debo has an incredible game, and Kittle has an incredible game, and we do win 45-0, and those people have had 200 yards each. Don't get me wrong, I'll be happy. But also, I know that the week after, something like what we did last week in the Seahawks can happen, because there's been no growth. And he's just going to try the same thing over and over. And yes, sometimes it works because we have the talent. But I want to see growth from Kyle. I want to see us to run the ball and smash them in the mouth at their place. And if it's a little cold and a little wet, it's perfect for that kind of game. We need to smash this team and establish ourselves again, like the juggernaut, smash mouth football that we were. This is the perfect opportunity against that defense and that team. The only good defensive line they have is Rashan Gary, and he's just an edge rusher. It's easy to run against edge rusher.
If all the names that I nearly messed up was his, and it was the one I've been practicing all day, Nadji, but equally, Jennings and Kittle being added in the run game as blockers, put them either side, that would be, good, because Jennings loves to get involved in smash mouth football. Like you said, Nadji, we know what the blueprint is to beat this Packers team. It's just whether Kyle, and coming in, this is underdogs. This is the first time in Brock's regular season career, I believe.
It's only a point and a half, so it might change.
I'm trying to change the narrative, Nadji, with the underdogs, with the plucky underdogs going into Lambeau. Get on board, buddy.
It is only because they're playing at home. I think if this game was in San Francisco, we'd probably be favorite, I would imagine. But yeah, I just want to see something else. I just want to be sat there Sunday and watch a dose of Jordan Mason, CMC, and Isaac Guerrero, and Debo on the run, but not jet sweeps, just running up the middle. That's what I want to see. Otherwise, I'll be annoyed.
So, Gareth, I want to ask you a question. Lee loves Feliciano. Might get his number wrong, but Lee's a fan. Would you prefer him to come in at centre or at left guard? Because I believe he's fit, and I think he would add something to the O-line, but where would you put him? Would you take Brendel out, or would you put Feliciano in alongside him?
I'm not sure for all of their struggles. I'm not sure I'd make the change from the unit, because Feliciano's coming back from an injury. He hasn't played this season. Consistency, you want that. At least our unit has been together. So I'm perhaps copping out of the question. I think the centre is that's a tall order to change that. I think, because we know that the centre has duties with the blocking assignments, and obviously the connection with the quarterback. So I would probably go for guard if you have forced me to, but I don't necessarily think that making the change for the sake of making the change is good with a player coming back from injury.
I disagree strongly on that.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think I would take Brendel out just because
Yeah,
of the pressure Brendel's allowing. Because when you're watching the game tape, Brock just doesn't have any time, and that it seems to come through the middle, and teams are exploiting that weakness. Banks has been a bit of a disappointment, but yeah, Johnny Dell, good friend of the show, his breakdowns this week, he's been
Really
very damning of the defensive line, which is good to see. And some of the lanes and some of the talking heads, some of the national talking heads across the pond have been quite surprised that, as you said, Nadji, we're not the bully anymore. Our smash mouth run down the throat football wasn't there, and it starts with the offensive line. But maybe this is a get right game in the snow.
This is why I disagree with you, Gareth, and it's not. Don't take it personally, but it's because we have.
I'm shocked.
Because it does start with the center, and he is responsible for gap assignment and setting the tone for the entire O-line. I would bench Brendel and get Feliciano in to just try and spark something new, something different, and just get this O-line on the same page and going together, so we can finally run the ball, because we've just not been able to run the ball this season. And I do feel like Feliciano, it's just because it's him that's back. If it was somebody else, I'd just put him in. I just think Brendel has been pretty bad this season, and I think he's ranked below 32 as center, which is crazy.
Really?
He's ranked actually 16th.
16th, right? Okay. Well, I saw some stats.
Sorry to burst your bubble there, Nadji.
No, I saw some stats. I think it was on Discord. Maybe Chris Wood, on Insider, posted he was like ranked 35th among all.
You do realise though, Chris is hungry at the moment though, Nadji, because he's out of Pringles, so maybe he's got the stats mixed up. So Chris, come on, buddy, don't give Nadji the wrong stats, man. Come on, Chris.
I think it was something we talked about off season before the draft as well, that we were saying, come on, Kyle, invest in this O-line for the first time. What can we do with a decent O-line? Look at how good Jared Goff looks because he's behind this brick wall offensive line. Look how good the Lions can do whatever they want offensively because they've got a foundation, a really strong foundation to run or pass, do what you like. I'd love to see Shanahan's offense with that kind of level of foundation rather than an offensive line, which, to be honest, it gets by. It's good enough, and of course occasionally it creaks and it gives up at important times. Maybe we're just being found out. I do think Trent Williams is potentially lost a step. Obviously it could just be the holdout, but we haven't been able to power on that left side like we have previously. I think that's could be down to Williams, and you're right. I think people have picked on Brendel and are battering us straight up the middle. It's the shortest distance to the quarterback. I know the edge rushers come around the edge and loop, but the shortest distance is straight up the middle if you can do it. And that's where people are getting the pressure. So,
and that's maybe why people are critical.
You've convinced me, Nadji. Go on, then. We'll put Feliciano in.
But with Brock being a bit jittery, Gareth, maybe that's because he's aware as soon as that ball snapped, he literally doesn't have time. And maybe that's why last year we saw him a bit more confident in the pocket. This year he seems to kind of not tuck it and run like Justin Fields straight away.
We have talked about his escapability and the fact that he was leaving the pocket too soon or no, and we did talk about this earlier in the season, and it's kind of a symptom of something that was always going to come, which is a bad O-line. And now it's, especially when you play from behind and you have to throw the ball, then all those, problems show even more, right? So, yeah,
people aren't getting open. They're not getting
Yeah, no,
open like they used
they're
to.
not. That's true.
Or we're not doing those short, quick rhythm passes that Jimmy thrived on, Brock thrived on when he was new, and I think it's almost worked against us that Shanahan's got so much trust in Brock. He's tried to move the offense past its bread and butter into potentially another level, and it's like, just go back to the stuff that works. It's what we've been saying. That
I mean-
short, quick passes, then run the one way, another quick pass, run the other way, put another running back in, run the other way, another quick pass. We just haven't seen that offense at all.
But ultimately, this all line was built to run the ball, and that is their strength, and we just haven't been able to do that, which makes everything else a lot more difficult. Which
Mason was leading the league up to about week 4, wasn't he? So we were able to do it.
Maybe give Carl some credit. Maybe Mason's shoulder injury, he just needed to hold out an extra week. And Gareth, believe it or not, I had the same opinion as you that the wide receivers weren't getting open. We were all getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And then Johnny Dell, Brad Graham, John Chapman, they've all done their all 22 breakdowns. The reason I don't do it is because they're better than me. So I wait for them to do it. And you could see people getting open. And it was just a bad game by Brock. For whatever reason, he wasn't seeing it. I can take it, Gareth. He's not Superman. We'll allow him one bad week. But, he's no Jimmy G, though. I'm not having that slander start.
God, no.
Yeah.
So much better.
Okay, enough of this. I think we've seen the matchups. Betting lines. The Packers are 2.5 point favourites, is what I've seen.
2.5. Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
And
going
maybe it's just it's fluctuated. If Bosa's looking like he's not playing, that probably adds another point. So the over-under is 47.5. So we are back to being the underdogs, which is first time this season. First time.
Well, technically not really, because technically we half a point favourites, because you get 3 points
get
just being the home team.
Yeah, true.
No, we want to be the underdogs, Gowland. I've just said that.
It's fine.
Plucky underdogs.
Were we favourite against the Chiefs? Surely not.
I think we were, bizarrely.
I think we were
Okay.
2-point favourites.
Obviously.
So
The best
we-
team in the
yeah,
NFL, that team.
yeah.
Of course, we were the favourites.
of course. Bet responsibly, everyone. Please.
So, some score predictions from you.
Oh dear. Oh, this is so tough to do this on a Thursday night. Not knowing
Right,
whether-
so
who's playing, who's not playing.
But it's all the same for all of us. It's only the wider faithful who have the advantage. So
31-18 they had. God.
okay, so obviously me first.
Why you first, Lee? Why you first,
Because I'm
buddy?
top
Come on.
ball. I'm number
Come
one.
on.
Go on.
Okay, so this week the Empire will strike back.
Oh,
We will
hello.
get back on track,
Hello.
and we
There
will
it is.
win 27-23. It'll be a
Oh,
close game.
For goodness sake. This is going to be again. I don't like this. I don't like this. Maybe who's last should go first, because this is terrible.
So congratulations, Lee. No dirty points from Gowland. I like it.
So just a second there. So Najee, what you've just mentioned there, I had a conversation with Andy Hodgson when we come back from Falkirk on Monday, and he suggested the same thing. Really, it should be the person that goes last, or who is last, gets to predict first.
Yeah.
no, we went through this, and the reason it's not is because if you're leading, you could just predict the same
Really
as
the
the next
same
person,
instead.
and they'd
Yeah,
never be able to gain on them.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
very
thought
true.
as well.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think
very
it was
true.
called-
There is that.
it kind
I
of
think
doesn't
it was
matter at
called
this
the
stage of the
Gowland
season,
rule,
but
wasn't it? I think it was called the Gowland rule. For whenever he got to the top, we had to kind of...
For the people
something like that.
not watching the YouTube though, Lee does have a Star Wars cap and hence the Empire Strike Back. And if
And
you
that's
know
why
Star
the
Wars
Empire
fan,
striking back.
Empire Strikes Back is a Star Wars movie. There we
I
go.
like the fact that he had that cap on for 50 minutes into the show. Now,
I know,
that
yeah.
shows
Just for
commitment.
this.
We knew there was a
Just for
reason.
this.
We knew there was a reason.
Beautiful. All right, Paul,
Yeah.
you're up.
So I thought I was going to be the only one predicting a 49ers win. So I'm a little bit shocked that Lee went down that way. So call me crazy, but Kyle is 4-2 overall versus LaFleur and 3-0 in the playoffs. And from what I've read this week, this is a playoff game. So we are winning this one 24-21. It's going to be a close game like Gowland.
Yep. Okay, so I think we're all going to be there or thereabouts, aren't we?
No dirty points from me, Nadji. I've warned the Discord lot today. It wasn't happening on my watch, people.
Not against this team. I genuinely do think this is a beatable team.
You're next up, Gareth. I've already put Naji's 45-0
Oh, thank you.
in there.
0.
So-
That is not my actual prediction. That is what I wish we're going to win. But that is
Imagine if it comes true, though,
my
Nadji,
God.
and you
I-
didn't,
I
and you
believe
changed it.
I believe it. No, we're going to win 26-24.
All very close. All very close.
It's going to be a close game.
Monday, I was thinking I might dip into dirty points, but now we're here. My the taste of week 11 fades, and the positivity comes back, and you realise that we're a couple of as we saw last week, they get that field goal, a couple of plays go another way. The Packers are 5-5, just like we are, and we've seen. We could easily be 7-3. There's very little difference between the teams. So I am going for a Niners win, 23-20. I think we're all very similar.
Yeah.
Any boldies? I've got this down as a Kittle game. He's back. I reckon he's getting a couple of tuddies and 100 yards.
That'll be great. I think it's a RB1 game. Jordan Mason will run for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Kyle doesn't know who he is.
I know, but I have to wish it into existence. I'm calling up on the universe to.
My bold prediction is Mason gets 2 carries.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. Yeah.
See, I agree with Nadji. It is a running back 1 game, but it's CMC. He's going to get 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and my baldy is Brock doesn't turn the ball over, because when that happens, good things happen to the 49ers. I tried to be quite sensible, Gareth, because I thought heading into this game, but the family man baldy from earlier has thrown me. But yeah, I think it's going to be a CMC game, chaps. You like that, don't you, Nadji, the family man? We'll get a t-shirt made of that.
Isn't there a Nicolas Cage movie called Family Man? Is some homework for you, Chris Wood?
Oh, well, if there is, you know that movie poster is suddenly going to have Devondre Campbell's face on Nicolas Cage's body.
That's what I want to see.
Well, there's a cartoon called Family Guy.
Yes.
And that's what I thought Gareth was talking about. I was racking my brain thinking, well, who's called same as somebody, a Family Guy? Bullies, offense. Okay. I think. Okay, defense then. Devondre Campbell's going to have a pick 6 and a forced fumble.
Yay!
God, that is.
You stole the words out of my mouth.
Oh, that is cool. Go on then, Gareth. Did you have the same?
I was going to, but I'd only come up with it then, thinking about the Devondre Campbell. But I do think, obviously, Jordan Love's got some interceptions in him, and we haven't been too bad on the interceptions. I'm going to go for a Renardo Green and a Demo. Get my boys both feasting on the picks.
Very nice.
I agree. I had 2 interceptions for Jordan Love, so I'll go with Gareth. That's just easier for context.
I think Fred is back this week, and he's going to have a sack, forced fumble. Sorry, strip sack, fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Well,
scoop and score.
Scoop and score. Strip sack, scoop and score.
Love a scoop.
I don't know if you saw, chaps, that Fred was at a community event in San Francisco, something with a foundation. He met Red Jet Shell, friend of the show, and he was also interviewed by Brad Graham, and Brad Graham was gushing over All-Pro Fred and saying, you know, what a nice guy he was and good to talk football with him. I think a bounce-back game from Fred Warner just could get the Defensive Player of the Year campaign back on track.
That's right. That's what I want to see. I want to see back him All-Pro and all that conversation. I've got one more boldies. You're going to love this one. We are going to score on the first play of the game.
Ooh.
Nice.
So I'm going to go even bolder than that. It's going to be a 75-yard field goal by Moody.
What,
in the cold. In the cold. Well, cold-ish.
Look what that cap has done to you, Lee. You know, I know, you know, but one thing that we didn't talk about, but just wanted to touch upon quickly, their special teams isn't great. So it could come down to which special teams is worse.
Least
So
terrible.
Packers fans have shared the same. So when I've been talking to the Packers fans, it's been interesting in the red zone struggles, not getting pressure on the quarterback, and special team struggles. I was like, it's just like talking to our friends. But, Najee, especially in a bad weather game, we've seen what special teams can do in Lambeau.
Yep,
we all remember
That's
the
what.
blocked punt, Hafanga's touchdown. We remember Robbie Gould. Positive vibes. I love to see the boys in white jumping around Lambeau, especially off a blocked field goal if the Packers are a muffed punt or something like that. Or Devondre Campbell, pick 6. That'd do it for me, chaps.
That'd be amazing. Love that. This
would.
card would go absolutely mental with that.
Anything more? I think we've covered it pretty much.
For people on Discord on Sunday, because we are the Sky game, not everybody will be watching at the same time. So, for example, I'll be on Sky Go, so I'm going to stay out of the Discord until a couple of minutes later. I know there's been a lot of frustration around this week. We've all voiced our opinions, which we're all entitled to. At the end of the day, as Lee Gowland said, we're all 49ers fans. We all love this team. We all have different opinions, but come Sunday, 9:25, we will all live in hope, Najee, and we will all be together on the emotional roller coaster that is NFL football. And week 12, chaps, where is this season gone?
I know.
It's just... That's
enjoy
all I want to say.
Enjoy while it's here, because it'll be gone soon enough, and we'll be talking about whoever's contract for ages.
No mock draft season. I don't want it yet. I said on the live last night.
Someone started that there, haven't they?
Yeah, someone has started it. When my phone went the other day, awesome foursome, opened up, mock draft off Gowland. I thought, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for it.
No.
PSA then. So Sky Sport 9:25. So at least we'll definitely see it, because they have a tendency of staying on the first game until it's actually over. But usually 25 passes done and dusted. So that's good. But yeah, if you are watching on Sky, you're probably gonna be a good 30 seconds, sometimes even a minute ahead of other people. So just hold on to your horses before you start posting the GIFs and the GIFs and all the excitement or the commiseration when that happens. But, we'll remind people. And yeah, usually we'll go after dark because it's pretty late. So looking forward to that.
Chris Woods, hope you've got your snack game on point. And I don't want to be the party pooper, but if the game doesn't go the way we hope it goes, just bear that in mind at the end with your frustrations. Bear that in mind when we switch on the reaction post. Again, frustrated. We're all frustrated as Niners fans, but at the end of the day, we all love the same team. So I just wanted to say that this week, as you said, Gareth, as the week's gone on, it's been great to see the positivity. And a shout out to Ali, who put a post in the group where he said, I want some positive thoughts. And that thread was amazing. Positive thoughts about the team and the community. And again, on the live last night, Najee, it was great to see. We had, I think, 100 people watching last night. The comments we've had afterwards, that the discussion was good. And go Niners. That's all you have to remember, everybody.
Oh, that's all we're here for.
That's it.
So I've got one more PSA. So
Go for it.
Just after the live had finished last night, I suddenly remembered I had a meeting at 2:00 this morning with Niner Empire. So it was the monthly president's meeting where they go through various different things, what's happening with takeovers at road games, stuff like that, what's happening with the tailgates actually at Levi's. And one of the things that was discussed was next year's worldwide barbecue. So the dates for that are the 11th, 12th and 13th of July. And next year it's going to be held in San Diego. I don't think they've actually got a venue yet, but San Diego will be the host city. And all the details will come through for that as and when they get sorted. It's something I've never been to, but if everything works out and I'm back working again, I'm going to try and get out there for the Worldwide Barbecue, because you get fan chapters from all over the world coming into this event.
Sounds pretty cool.
San
Diego in July, though.
UK, going international, Najee. Going internationally, I like it. No, thanks for attending those meetings. I know it's been a big push of yours to get us to join the Niner Empire chapter. So, you flew the flag in Newcastle recently. And for those people who might not know what it is, I don't know if you want to explain, Lee, that it's kind of it's a big deal, isn't it, for us to be part of this fan chapter?
Yeah, so Niner Empire, basically, there's two organisations. There's the Niner Empire and Niner Empire. And we remember of Niner Empire. There used to be one, but they split, I think, back in 2011, 2012, sometime like that. So what it is it's a collective of fan chapters, all over the world now. I was going to say all over the United States, but it's all over the world. And everybody tailgates together, whether it be at Levi's or on the road. So if you have a fan chapter that's based in Miami, which there is one based in Miami, they're going to throw a tailgate for the Dolphins game. And that's the post I put in the group very early this morning to share that, so everybody knows where it's at. It was a free event, and that's the type of thing that you get involved with the Niner Empire, because we can then basically just let them know there's a certain number of members going to turn up. They can pay on the day, and all they need to do is give the name.
And they've been sharing our stuff on their social media, which has been good to see. Obviously, part of our growth. So it was nice to see. I think when we had Willis on the show, they shared that on their Instagram feed. And as you said, Lee, they invite us to the meetings. It's just 6 p.m. California time, which is 2 a.m.
It is. However, they are going to do a separate international one. The very first question that Joe asked us when I joined the meeting was, what time would be best? What day and what time? So I've basically said, look, Saturday at 6 o'clock UK time will be 10 o'clock Pacific time. So it'll be 10 o'clock Saturday morning for you. It gives people over in the UK and the likes of Germany, because Germany will be joining this as well. This will be an international meeting. It'll give them a time to get back from the local football game, soccer game that they've been to, get back in the house and then jump on the meeting. But I'll still attend the US ones as well.
We should do an off-season show with about Niner Empire. Maybe get a couple of other chapters on and do a show about the fan network. If we can get everyone together.
Quite a few people were asking what our link was for YouTube. So hopefully we might see YouTube subscribers go.
Wow.
Very nice.
That'll be good.
That would be good.
Right then, I think we should finish this off. Thank you, gents. It has been a pleasure, as always, and more cheerful than the last show. Nadji. I didn't get what the hand signals were.
I'm pointing at the dance, because we're on YouTube, so that's what the kids do. There's a from I like this video button right about here somewhere.
Okay,
press it.
Hit it, mash it,
smash it.
Great stuff, lads. Some good positivity back. And yeah, be excellent to each other. I think that's that. However it goes, we will be back next week to review the game. And it's week 12, but it's playoff football already. How about that? Buckle up. I do predict some bums will be squeaked come Sunday night. Keep warm. Enjoy the weekend and go Niners.
Go Niners.
May the force be with you.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in the heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, D. Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99.